Hello everyone. After a bit of a break, we're doing another video. This one is another one for kids at the request of my kids. Athena, do you want to come and give an introduction? Okay.
Good morning, welcome Disney.
Okay. Like usual with my kids' videos, there's not a specific sort of step-by-step plan. We just have a sort of topic in mind, and we're going to move through it and see what we learn along the way. So the topic that was suggested was adding double digits. And since I have watching a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, it maybe makes sense to cover not only adding double digits, but also what are double digits? What does that even mean, right? So let's think about numbers for a second, right? We have numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Those aren't double digits, because my brother said that double digits, like 10 is a double digit.
Yeah, exactly. So these aren't double digits because I just write down one thing for each of these numbers. And then I get, so let me go all the way. I go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the next number
is
10. And the interesting thing about 10 is that I write down 10, even though it's one number, I write it down using two numbers, a 1 and a 0.
Yeah.
Right?
Also like 20 and 15.
Yeah, exactly. So once I get to 10, all the numbers have at least two digits. So I get 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, that keeps going. And you see that each of these is a 1 and then some other number. And if I keep going for a while, like you said, I might get to like 27, or I might get to 52, right? These are with lots of numbers in between. Or I might get to 95, and then I might
you might get to 20, or 20, or 30, or 31.
Yeah, so 20 would have been like after 15, but before 27. And 31 would be after 27, but before 52. And if I go far enough, I even get into triple-digit numbers. Like I get to, eventually I get to 100. And then I have to write down 3 things to write down 100.
Like
right?
1, like a 1.
Yeah.
And then 2 zeros.
A 1 and then 2 zeros. So the question is, we get that there's single digits and double digits and triple digit numbers, but what are they? What do they mean? So let's make some space and sort of look at those.
What do they mean?
Right? So let's look at a number like 15. Okay, a 1 and a 5. And I'm going to tell you what 15 means, okay? Because the two parts of this each have their own meaning that combine to make the whole meaning of the number. The 5 is really easy. It just means 5. 5 means 5. That's easy, right?
Yeah.
But the 1 that's on the left side of the 5, it doesn't mean 1. When the 1 is over here to the left, this means 10. And so when I write down 15, what you're really saying is 10 plus 5. And we can think of it like this. If you start with 10, and you add 5 more to it, what do you get? Right? You start with 10, and then you add 5 more. So you get 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right? This is plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5.
You get 15.
Exactly.
Can I answer too?
Yeah, you can answer too, of course. So when you have 15, when you think about the way that it's written with a 1 and a 5, don't stand on that chair. It's not stable. Okay? With a 1 and a 5, it's really telling you, in disguise, it's telling you an addition. It's saying this really means 10 plus 5.
Yeah. I got another way. You can do it like you have 10, and then you put a plus sign, and then you put 5 more to it, and you count how many more.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what I wrote
right
here,
there.
and then I did the counting right here. Exactly.
Yeah, you did it right there.
Exactly right. Okay, so let's do another example. I'll try to fit it in over here so we can see it side by side.
Yeah.
Let's take an example like, let's take another simple example like, I don't know, 18. Right?
Yeah,
if we
that's
did,
double digits.
That's double digits. And what if I were to break it up in the same way, right? What does the 8 mean?
It means 8.
8 means 8. That's easy. But what does the 1 mean when it's beside the 8 in this way? What does the 1 mean?
It means 10 in that other way.
Exactly, it means 10. When I write the 1 and the 8 together, it doesn't mean 1 plus 8. Because what's 1 plus 8?
It's...
What's 1 more than 8?
Should I answer? 9.
9. I think you can answer the harder questions. So, but that's not what I wrote. This isn't 9, this is 18. And that's because it's not 1 plus 8. The 1 here represents 10. It's 10 plus 8.
Yeah. Nothing can be a high number, but just it can just be. Nothing can be a high number if it's just actually 1 and 8.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
That's not a big number.
The number that
that's 8.
Yeah, so when we write something like 18, we're not saying to just add up these numbers. We're saying the 8 counts as 8, but the number over here, this 1, actually counts as 10. It counts as something much bigger than 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's do another example and see that this same thing works even if the number beside it isn't a 1. So what if I have 27? 27 is a 2 and a 7, and we can break it up in the same way. What does the 7 mean?
It means 7.
7 means 7, but now what does the 2 mean?
Well, that's a good question, because 1 means 10.
1 means 10.
It could mean 11.
That's one guess, because 2 is like 1 more than 1, and this 1 meant 10, so you might think that 2 means 11, but you gotta think even bigger than that. This 2 doesn't mean 11. Think about this. When I say this number out loud, how do I say it? I say 27. So what do you think the 2 means?
I think the 2 means 20.
Exactly right. The 2 means 20. 10 plus 10.
Yeah.
So 27
You say
is...
27.
Exactly. So 27, a 2 and a 7, the 2 means 20, and the 7 means 7, and you add them up, and you get 27.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could we do another one?
Yeah, you want to do another one?
Yes.
You tell me a number this time.
15.
15? Well, we did that one. Let's do a different one that we haven't done yet.
19.
All right, we can do 19. So why don't you tell me what it means?
And the 9, that 9
Yep.
means 9.
Right. And the 1?
And the 1 means 10.
Right. So 19 is 10 plus 9.
Yeah, it's not just 1 plus 9, because that's just 10.
Yeah, exactly. It's not 1 plus 9. This 1 actually means 10 all by itself because it's written beside the 9 like this.
Yeah.
Right? Now think, if you add 1 more to 19, what do you get? What's 19 plus 1?
20.
Yeah, 20. Exactly. So, if I was trying to write this as 10 plus 10, I might try to write something like 1, 10, and try to make this 10 means 10, and 1 means 10, and that would be something weird. This isn't how you normally write things. This is not what we do. Once you get to 9 and you add 1 more, now you're at 20, so you write 20 like this, like we know, like we've seen before. So the 0 means 0, there's no 1s, and the 2 means 20, so this is just saying 20 is 20. The 2 stands for 20, and the 0 says it's just 20 and nothing extra, nothing above 20. Alright, so now that we have that understanding, we can think about adding double digits, because how you add double digits is really depends on this understanding of how numbers work. So let's take two numbers that we've seen before. Let's take 15
Yeah.
and let's add to it 12. Okay? So now we could count this out, but here's another thing we could do. We could say, look,
Yeah.
15.
Counting out is a long thing.
Yeah, especially the bigger the numbers get, the longer it takes to count it out. So when the numbers get really big, we need other techniques. We can't just sit there counting all day, doing all of our addition.
Yeah, and it's almost nighttime, so it will probably just take us past our bedtime.
Exactly, which I'm sure you would be horrified at. So
Yeah, we would
so-
be like tired and be like,
Okay, so let's do this. So 15 plus 12, instead of counting it out, let's break 15 and 12 in the same way that we did before. Let's put 15 is actually 10 plus 5, right? Make sense? And 12, the 2 is a 2, and the 1 is a 10. And I put plus signs because I'm adding them all up. So what I'm saying here is 15 plus 12 is really the same thing as 10 plus 5, that's the 15, plus 10 plus 2. Does that make sense?
yeah, but how will we get all of? We'll
Right.
get all of that,
Yeah.
but how will we get it? It's so hard.
Yeah, okay, it looks like, that's a great point. It looks like we made our job harder because before we just had 2 numbers to add and now we have 4 numbers to add. But we actually made our job easier because think about this. What is 10 plus 10?
20.
10 plus 10 is 20.
And
That's
5
easy.
plus 2 is 7, so it's 27.
Okay, right, so the 10 plus 10 makes 20. And then the 5 and the 2, 5 plus 2 is 7, right? So when I look at this, I
Can
get...
that be 27?
Exactly, and then I do the backwards operation. 20 plus 7 could be written as 27. So what did I figure out? I figured out that 15 plus 12, once I do the work, is equal to 27.
Yeah, 27. You can put a line under that because that's what we got to.
Yeah, I could put a line under it and a check mark maybe, because that's the answer.
That's the correct answer. And it was super hard to answer because we tried to add 2 numbers together. And then we were like, oh no, we can't add 4 numbers together. That's harder.
Did you have something to say? Go ahead.
But if you get really good at it, since that takes pretty long, you could just go 10. You could go really fast. 10 plus 10 and 5 plus 2, and you don't have to write it out.
Yeah, but I'm not writing it out. You're right. I'm not writing it out because you have to write it out. I'm writing it out to show sort of step by step what the reasoning is.
I know.
But yeah, as you get good at it, I want you to not be here because you're gonna knock the camera over. Okay, stay back up. All right. So look, I wanna show you what we really did. We took 15 and 12 and we broke each one up into the 10 part and the part that was like either a 5 or a 2.
Yeah.
And then we added the 10s together to make 20. And we added the 1s together, the 5 and the 2, to make 7.
Yeah.
So one way to write that, which you'll see eventually in school, and you've already seen, is instead of writing 15 plus 12 in a line, you stack them on top of each other. You write 15 plus 12. So you put you write them like this in a different way. And the
Yeah,
reason...
you don't run the...
Okay, hold on.
What?
And the reason you do it that way is because it shows you that what you really want to do is add the 5 and the 2, like we did here, to get 7, and add the 1 and the 1, or the 10 and the 10, to get 20, which goes into the 27. So if I look at it as going sort of downwards, the 5 and the 2 add together to make 7, and that's what we did here, the 7. And the 1 and the 1, which is really 10 plus 10, add together to make 20, which becomes the 2 on the left of the 7.
Yeah.
So this way of writing it it's like a short form of this long way of writing it.
Yeah, they're both the same. Just one way is so long.
Yeah,
Like you might be like almost at nighttime.
right.
Like darker than it is right now. And you might not want to do the long way.
Yeah, but right now it's good to write out things in many different ways. Because
Yeah.
the more... Listen. Are you listening?
Yeah.
Because the more different ways you think something through, the better you understand it, right?
Yeah.
If I just tell you one way, then you'll maybe kind of understand it, but if I tell you the same thing in two different ways, you'll have a better understanding of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The
let's
both is-
do another example.
Yeah.
So I'm going to erase this one.
Yeah. They're both same.
I'm going to do another example. I'm going to do, let's say,
But
32.
but
Yeah.
are you gonna erase the words? Because then you'll have a little bit more space up top.
You think I should do that?
Yeah.
All right. I'll erase the words so that I have more space. It's probably a good idea.
Because then you'll have.
People know what the
more.
title is by now. So
What?
32 plus 14. This one's a pretty big number, 32, right?
Yeah.
But we can do
you
the
might
same.
not know what that number is.
But let's do the
You
same.
got an equal sign.
Right, but I'm going to do the same thing I did before. So the question is, what does this equal? And let's do the same thing we did before.
You did.
Let's break up these numbers. So Athena, you start with 14. How do I break up 14?
You put 10,
10,
and then you put 4.
and then I put 4. And
How
this
do
plus
you
sign
add
is here.
those up?
Hold on, I'm not done yet. How do I break up 32?
There's a 3 there.
What do you think 3 stands for? It's not 10, and it's not 20.
And it's not 30.
It is 30. Right? Because that's even how you say this, 32. So this 3 stands for 3 tens. 10, 20, 30. So 30.
Oh, so it's 10. So you might not want to do it, but do it this way. You can, but another way, this is the long way. You can go 10 plus 10 plus 10.
Exactly. It's 3 times 10. That's what 10 plus 10 plus 10 is. Very good.
And you know,
And-
you
and-
probably know what 3 times 10 is from the multiplication video.
Yeah, right. We did a multiplication video, so you can use that to think about multiplication.
Yeah.
So yeah, right, exactly. Good connection to previous videos. So the 3 makes a 30, and the 2 makes a 2, and they add together.
Yeah.
So now, what do we get here? We get, let's do the same thing we did before. Let's take the 30 and the 10. What's 30 plus 10?
It can't be 30, 10.
No, can't be 30, 10. Yeah, you can answer.
40.
It's 40. Goes like 10, 20, 30, 40, because I added 10 more to 30. So the 30 plus 10 makes 40. And now what's left? Athena, you do this part. What's left? After I did 30 plus 10, I got my 40. And what's left?
4 and 2.
Which is what?
It's 6.
It's 6. Excellent.
Is that 46?
Exactly. And now if I do the reverse, instead of splitting it apart, I push it together, I get 46. So look what we figured out.
46.
We figured out that 32 plus 14, is 46.
Yeah, 40. You could put a line under it again
Okay.
because that's the correct.
Right. And I'll write it in the way that I said. This is the short form. 32 plus 14 equals 46.
Yeah.
Good? And this is exactly what we did. We did 2 plus 4 gives us the 6, and 3 plus 1, or really 30 plus 10, gives us the 4, which is really 40.
Yeah.
46. Okay. So, we should do another example, because there's one more tricky thing that can happen in here that we haven't seen yet.
It's called carrying.
It's called carrying. Okay? And it's kind of tricky when you learn it, unless you do it in the long way, and then I think it makes a lot of sense. So let's do one more example, okay, Athena?
Yeah.
Let's do 17 plus,
Can I?
yeah?
Plus 28.
Plus 28. That'll work. And so it's the same thing we were trying to do before. Add 2 double-digit numbers, but let's see what happens this time. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so first things first, Athena, break 17 apart for me.
10,
10,
7,
7. And that's added to, can you break 28 apart for me?
20,
20,
and then 8.
and then 8. Now if we do...
So that's 10 plus 7, and then 20 plus 8.
Yeah, 10 plus 7 plus 20 plus 8. And what we usually do is we get the things that are multiples of 10, like 10 and 20, we put them together first. What's 10 plus 20?
You can answer that. Me? 10 plus 20? 30.
30. That makes sense, Athena?
Yes.
Okay, so 10 plus 20 is 30, right? Because it's kind of like 1 plus 2 is 3, but it's 10 plus 20. So 1 10 plus 2 10s equals 3 10s. That's kind of what we're doing. So 10 plus 20 is 30. And now here's the tricky part. Okay, what's 7 plus 8?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
7 plus 8.
I don't know.
Yeah?
Well, 8 plus 8. Since 7 is 1 less than 8. 8 plus 8 is 16, and 16 minus 1 is 15. So 7 plus 8 is 15.
Okay.
But then you have to add 30 plus 15, which will add
Yes.
another 10 to the 30, which will be 40.
Okay, you did the whole thing. So let's do that step by step for the people who are watching the video, okay? So first you figured out 7 plus 8 is 15. And you actually did it in kind of a cool way. You knew that 8 plus 8 was 16, and so you subtracted 1 from that. So that's one way of doing 7 plus 8. So that's cool. Now, I could here just figure out 30 plus 15 and figure that out in my head. But I actually like what you did better. 15, right, is itself a double-digit number. It's 10 plus 5, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we
that's-
have, so 30 plus 15 is the same as 30 plus 10 plus 5.
When you get the right answer, you put a line under it and then a check mark.
Yeah, but we're not at the right answer yet. Right now we're focusing on getting to the right answer. Okay?
Yeah, because
So-
there's two numbers
okay, so-
that we have to add together.
Right, so let's work on this. The 15 can be broken up into a 10 and a 5. On deck. And the reason that we're doing that is because once I have the 10 separated, I can squish it together with the 30. And this is like what we did before. 30 plus 10 is 40.
Yeah.
Now I have 40 plus 5, which is what?
You can answer that.
No, Athena, you can answer this. 40 plus 5. We could do the backwards thing we did before. We have a 40, that's 4 10s, and a 5. So it becomes 45. I'm going to get you to sit down, okay? Because you're being a little bit too rambunctious. I want you to sit down right there. Great.
Yes, right.
Yes. So stay there. So let's recap. We took our 17 plus 28. We broke it apart. We got 10 plus 20 to make 30, and 7 plus 8 to make 15. Right? But the 15 is already bigger than 10, so it had a 10 in it. I want you to sit right there. Okay? Sit right there. We're almost done. So the 15 became a 10 plus 5, and the 10 can be combined with a 30 to give 40, and that gives us our answer, 40 plus 5, which is 45. Okay, now this seems long, but what's happening is if I write this in the stacked form, I have 17 and 28, and what happened was 10 plus 20 gives me 30, but I didn't end up with 30, I ended up with 40 something, because the ones that added gave me something that already was bigger than 10. So the 7 plus 8 gave me 15, but the 15 split into 5, which goes down here, and then 10 more, which I write up here as a little one. This is what you were saying when you were talking about carrying. And this little one right here represents this 10 right here that was part of the 15, and it joins with the 30, 1 plus 2, or 10 plus 20, which gives you 30, and this makes 40, so we get 45.
Or what you could do is you could move the 1 down to here, because up all the way up here is kind of easy to forget. So if you move it here, maybe it's easier for your brain to have it there.
Is that something they taught you in school, or are you inventing this?
I got taught it in school in 1st grade. Now I'm in 2nd grade. So
Okay. Well, I never got taught that way of writing it in school. But I guess the point is that this is just a way of trying to write it like really quickly. But no matter how you write it, what you're really doing is this part right here, where you say 15 is really 10 plus 5, and so the 10 joins with the 30 to make 40. And that's how carrying works.
yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
You might want to do that step by step by step,
right.
so that you can figure it out more easily.
Yeah, I like doing it step by step because then I know why this part works. Because if I don't know why this works, then it's just kind of like a bunch of rules that don't really make sense to me that I just have to memorize. But this tells you why it works. It tells you this little 1 that you wrote here, I'm circling it because it's the same as this 10 that occurs over here. Those are the same thing. This 1 represents this 10.
Yeah, you know, because they're both double circled. Most things are just,
Yeah,
Circle.
that's how I indicated that on the board.
yeah.
So you guys think that, I mean, we could always do more examples, but maybe this is a good place to
Yeah,
stop
we can always
today's
do
video.
more videos. Okay.
Yeah, we can do more videos.
Okay, bye.
All right, you want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.